Finding your purpose as a man might just save your life. In this video, I'm talking about the damage that's caused as a man by living a purposeless, meaningless life. And I'm going to talk about the one question that if you dare to ask it of yourself, might just tell you what your purpose truly is. Hello men, it is Oliver again. Now, I run men's emotional support groups. I've ran men's emotional support groups for roughly the past half a year, and there's something that I've noticed that men are struggling with today. Firstly, I just want to say one thing. Men are currently, as a whole, going through a psychological and spiritual crisis. This crisis has been brewing, in hindsight, for a long time, and it's likely to get worse before it ultimately does get better. Addictions, suicides, and the rise of mental health disorders are just the surface level manifestation of this deeper, core, spiritual and psychological crisis. The problem with men today is not that they don't talk about their feelings. This is like quite a feminine view of looking at the problem, because ultimately women don't necessarily understand the core, deeper issues that are going on, so they'll impose their sort of like view of it, which is like, if you just talk about your feelings more and open up, that would help you feel better. Now, I run men's emotional support groups because partly that's true. When you open up and talk about your emotions in a deeper way and enlist the encouragement and support of other people, that really helps. However, the problem, as I see it, is deeper than that. The problem is more foundational. It's a core issue. And I can sum it up like thus. The problem, the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological issues that men face today is a lack of purpose and meaning that is generated in the process of heroic challenge. In our psychology, there are two tendencies. There is a tendency towards moving boldly into life, accepting its challenges, accepting the finitude of existence, accepting that we are struggling, that life is in some ways dissatisfaction, suffering and struggle, and moving in that direction anyway and saying yes to life. That's the first tendency. The other tendency is back. The other tendency is a denial, an unconscious saying no to life and an attempt to climb back inside the womb. Psychological infantile regression is where we attempt to deny life through video games, through porn addiction, through social media, smartphone addiction, through alcoholism, the list goes on. Because we can't climb inside the womb, we need to create a comfortable womb somehow. And these addictions, they fill that void. If they don't fill that void, if they don't adequately fill that void, then what a man will do is he will crave annihilation of life in its totality. Now, video games especially hook men in addictive cycles because they simulate the heroic challenge of life without any of the risk. You see, it's the risk that if you don't have courage, it's the risk that you fear. But you need the heroic challenge. So video games give you all the challenge and all the progression without any of the risk. Now, most men today did not build the inner courage necessary to take that step and move boldly into life. The regressive tendency is very, very strong, and in order to counter that, you need adequate courage. Now, we didn't build enough courage because of a few reasons. This could be its whole other video, but there's a few reasons that stand out to me. One of them is we didn't have healthy male role models in abundance. The first male teacher I had was when I was 12. Most of the time, my father was working because he was supporting our family. My mother was at home more often, and I had nothing but female teachers. I didn't have adequate, healthy male role models, and to my view, most men I've spoken to, my emotional support groups and elsewhere, they didn't either. The second thing is we didn't have a process of initiation. Now, in ancient cultures, there would be a process around the age of 12 where a man was initiated into manhood, right? If you're born a man, or you're born male, that's like something that's born, but to be a man, to initiate into manhood is something that is earned through initiation. Now, we don't actually have an adequate substitute for this at all today. And the third thing is just general necessary encouragement from other men. It is
mind-boggling to me how little encouragement it takes in my support groups for a man to actually start believing that they can change their life, that they can be the master of their own ship. It takes very little encouragement to actually do that. Now, if we want to overcome that regressive tendency towards addiction, towards the call of annihilation, the call of the womb, if we want to step boldly into life and take our place within it and self-actualize, we need to find our heroic purpose. We need to find, for us as an individual, what our heroic journey might look like. We need to find our purpose, and we need to step onto the path and build the courage to continuously do so. So finding this purpose, as well as your deepest core values, as well as developing a healthy sense of self-identity, is essential for becoming the man that deep down you know you could be, and also having really healthy relationships with women too. So how do you actually find this purpose? There are countless meditations, there are countless questions and self-reflections you can engage in order to answer this question. Many of these I work through in phase 1 of my 90-day coaching program. Book a call with me below if you're interested in checking that out. But there's one question particularly that with clients pierces through as significant more than all the rest of those questions. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung said, "Where your fear lies, there is your task." So I ask you, if you want to know your purpose, what do you fear? The cave that you do not want to enter lies the treasure that deep down you really seek. Remember this, as humans, and specifically as men, we are built for struggle. We're built for challenge. Any hero story, such as Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, needs a villain. The villain brings out the best in him. The villain, at a certain point in the story, seems far beyond the capabilities of the hero to deal with. But in the continuous engagement, in the continuous combat and challenge against the villain, the hero discovers who he really is, discovers his true potential. So, your fear, the thing, the cave that you don't want to enter, the dragon you don't want to face, the villain you do not want to enter into combat with, is your purpose. So who is your villain? Is it that business that you want to start but you've never got around to it? Is it that skill that you wanted to build, that you've told everyone you're going to build one day, you're going to get really good at this and that, but you've never actually done it? Is it that charity or volunteering organisation that you're not getting involved in? Is it that qualification or that degree that you're procrastinating on? Sit and meditate on this question for a week, and I'm pretty confident that you will find the answer that you seek. But it might not be the one that feels comfortable, but it will be the one that feels meaningful to you. And when you step onto the path, the process of moving in that direction, you will find the treasure that you seek. Plus, when it comes to a purpose-driven man with momentum in his life, the chicks dig it. Thank you, gentlemen, and I'll see you next time.